I made a video a very long time ago talking about how I question the blackness of people who define themselves as black and Christian.
If you're a black person and you believe in Jesus, I will have to highly question your identity as a black person, because a lot of black people have to, for whatever reason, they have to really disassociate themselves from their blackness, from who they are as a black person, in order for them to accept Christianity. And they don't even realize that their ancestors were Christianized. Do you know what it means to be Christianized? That means they literally strip a person away from their identity, because they thought that their identity and their culture inferiorized them and made them a savage. They took their names, they took their culture, they took their language, they took their everything that made them who they are, stripped it all away from them, and gave them a new name, gave them a new conscience, a new language, to such a point that they don't even sound identical to the places that they came from.
And it was a very controversial video. It was so controversial that it went mini viral, and there was a whole lot of discussions in the comment section upon the basis of what I had to say. People didn't understand it. People thought that I was hating, I was rage baiting, all these different types of things, but they didn't understand the full framework of what I was seeing and what I've been seeing for the past 26 years of my life. When it comes to you identifying as a Christian, as a black man or woman, you are identifying with the values and the belief system and the power structure of another set of people. And when you subconsciously do not see God as yourself, you are now upholding the power structure and the belief system of another set of people. And that keeps you at a disadvantage. And people don't understand that. I've heard it all my life growing up in the church. It doesn't matter if God was black, white, blue, yellow, green. It just mattered that he died for my sins. Mind you, I was raised up in a black church. Every stained glass window had a picture of white Jesus. Now, imagine the irony in a statement being said by the pastor that it doesn't matter what God's color is. It doesn't matter what God looked like as long as he died for our sins. There's no better way to picture this. There's no better way to imagine this. Every single stained glass window in the church is a depiction of a white man or a white angel. That's concerning. It's concerning for me as a black person if I live in a society where I am supposed to be set up at a disadvantage. It's concerning for me as a black man when growing up, I am taught that when it comes to whiteness, it's pure, it's clean, it's good. And when it comes to blackness, it's evil and corrupt. That's the society in which we live in. Dr. Francis Wilson talks about this vividly of the subliminal messages that are shown in society, such as the brown ball going through the white goal, the little white ball going into the big black hole, the brown ball going into the white net in basketball. How you have to knock out all the colored balls with the white ball when you're playing pool, and the black ball is last. And there's so many other different subliminal messages that go on in this society. And you might call it reaching and you might call it a stretch, but that's because you're not truly reassessing the environment in which you live in. There's no reason for devil cake to be brown and angel cake to be white. There's no reason for us to wear black to funerals and we wear white to weddings. There's no reason for there to be the black sheep, the dark truth, and then a little white lie. There's so many different things that need to be reassessed and reevaluated when it concerns what we identify with. And a lot of us as black people, we don't even want to identify with being black, much less being African. We are going through such an identity crisis. We'll deal with that for another day. But we're dealing with such an identity crisis in America that we have all these different sectors of what we want to define and call ourselves other than what we truly are. Niggas. You're still nigga. But what's interesting today is I saw something that was truly astounding. Something that really, we need to just have a sit down and talk about this. And I want to know y'all thoughts about this in the comment section below when y'all get done watching this whole video. This woman said, "Don't be so pro-black that you become anti-Christ." I don't know what that means. What is the measurement? What is the standard for being too pro-black? You know what I mean? Is being too pro-black is when we were creating organizations and systems that were structured for us to rise above the hate, to rise above our insecurities, to rise above the mistreatment for these past 150 years. Imagine telling somebody that in the 1960s. Imagine telling somebody that as they are marching with Martin Luther King. Imagine telling somebody that as they're listening to Malcolm X. Imagine telling somebody that as they are beginning to rediscover themselves in their history. What does that do to a black person to tell an audience or a mass of people and to tell everybody in the world that don't be so pro-black that you become anti-Christ? And this is a response to what's been going on in this world with Charlie Kirk, with everything that's going on in America, with this distinction that I'm seeing between the black church and the white church, between black theology and theology. And I make those distinctions between theology and black theology because the way that we have synchronized our African traditions and our African spirituality and our culture and our very essence and personality within black theology is truly astounding. If you really study the Afrocentric nature and in the essence and the historical lineage of our religion and our spirituality and the systems that we had to create through the plantation, coming out of slavery and going into the Reconstruction era and so on and so forth, there is such a beautiful and rich culture there that has to be evaluated, has to be studied if you truly want to know all sectors and corners concerning the basis of black theology. So it's truly astounding to me. It's mind-boggling to me that you have black people who are trying to go against other black people for calling out the racism in the church, the racism in the Christian faith. There are black people who find it concerning that when they listen to somebody like a Charlie Kirk and he says all these ridiculous things, that you want to use the excuse of you got to listen to the full context, or that's not what he truly meant. If that was for anybody else, they would never want the context. If that was for anybody else, they would never truly want the context. Do you know how so quick black people were willing to cut off somebody like Monique? How people were so quick to cut off somebody like a Kevin Hart? There was no context for that. They heard one clip, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 30 seconds. It didn't matter. People were so quick to try and cut off a Dave Chappelle. I've been knowing about Charlie Kirk and his content for years. Never was appealed to his content because I knew who his audience was. I've seen some of his debates here and there. Never appealed to me. And I got black people. I don't have white people on my platform. I got black people who are blacker than me trying to tell me, would you just please, son, listen to Master Charlie? He don't mean no harm. That's what I'm hearing on my platform. Why are there, I'm seeing more black people on social media having an outcry for this man than the white people. I don't understand that. And then I'm seeing videos of Charlie using black people, how a slave master would use an overseer or use his favorite Negro. Come here, boy. Tell them how I'm not racist.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, man.
So for people who want to call Charlie a racist, kiss my black ass. Excuse my language. Charlie Kirk is not a racist.
I love this guy. I love this guy. I love this guy.
I literally saw a video like that. And not too long ago, I saw Donald Trump on one of the morning shows. And basically, essentially, if y'all seen it, right? Essentially telling him, good boy, you a good boy. I always knew you were going to be a good reporter and everything like that. Patted him on the knee. Didn't even answer the question that he gave him. It's ridiculous. And the more that I begin to see America show its tail, it brings me back to something that Rap H. Brown has said. And I'm going to look it up right now because I do not want to bash this whatsoever. Because he had made such a truly profound quote about America. And I believe he said something around the lines of violence in America is like apple pie. But I want to get this quote right. I'm going to say the full quote and then we're going to get back into it. But H. Rap Brown, shout out to H. Rap Brown. I say violence is necessary. Violence is a part of America's culture. It is as American as cherry pie. Americans taught the black people to be violent. We will use that violence to rid ourselves of oppression. If necessary, we will be free by any means necessary. Context, right? You are talking about a time in the 1960s and 70s where black people were being beat upside the head. Black people were being threatened. You got these KKK members walking around with nooses outside of their cars. And to paraphrase something that Kwame Ture has said, when you're negotiating upon mistreatment, you do this consciously. But when you're dealing with America, America does not have a conscience. So you cannot deal with mistreatment with love. You cannot deal with mistreatment with prayer. So to H. Rap Brown's point, he's not calling for chaos. He's not telling you to go out there and wreak havoc. But as Malcolm X even said, we are nonviolent with those who are nonviolent with us. But if somebody put their hands on you, you put them in the grave. That's something that Malcolm X has said. And it's interesting that and Malcolm X all the time would talk about the hypocrisy of America. It's interesting how when he brought up the point in one of his speeches, Malcolm X talked about how when Pearl Harbor happened, right? America said, thank God, but send the ammunition. But whenever it comes to black people and them retaliating, whenever it comes to black people in their self-defense, they will be demonized. Oh, look how wild they are. Look how reckless they are. And it's interesting how they want to control the narrative. It's so exhausting sometimes. And I want to make this point as well, that on my platform, if you look through all my content, I be as optimistic as possible. I want people to come on this platform to be aware, but not to be fearful. I want people to be revolutionary and not scary. I want people to understand that you can be revolutionary, you can stand up for yourself, and you can also make your money. You can be as free as you can be. You can do whatever you want to do in this world. Do not let people think that you are oppressed. Do not let people condition you to think that you are lesser than, or the minority, or marginalized, whatever these tones that they would try to subjugate you to. You are the light of the world. You have an infinite light that dwells within you that nobody else has. You are, speaking into my black people, you are the originators of this world. You created civilization. You created alchemy. You created literature. You created mathematics. You created all these different substances, all these different curriculums. You taught man how to civilize itself. You taught man how to wash and bathe and speak. You was the setting example of everything, whether good or bad. You are the Alpha and the Omega. We was here in the beginning and we shall be here in the end. So I need you to understand, do not let these narratives that you are seeing on social media and what you're seeing on the news condition you to dim your light. Because some of y'all will look at all the stuff going on in society and you won't book that trip. You look at all the stuff going on in society and you won't make that video. You look at everything going on in society and you won't make a statement. You won't show out. You won't stand out. You won't push for yourself. Don't do that. Please, if you get anything out of this video, please do for self. Please, nobody can influence you and motivate you better than yourself. Only you can motivate you. Only you can push you. Nobody's coming to save you. It don't matter how many prayers you have. It doesn't matter how many mentors you have. You have to put in the work. And so with that being said, when it comes to the basis of what's been going on in this country and rise in power to Trey Reed, his life was taken at Delta University, Mississippi. These type of things, when America doesn't show any type of light, they don't show the same type of affection for Trey Reed as they would for a Charlie Kirk. It shows you really in plain light the conditions, the values, and the concerns of America. It's very interesting when America tells you, this is who we have proclaimed to be an American hero. This is who stands up for what we stand for. This is a person who is the pure example, the personification of what we are as Americans. He was the best of us. You got black people making songs about this man, people tap dancing for this man because the media is telling them to. I don't know who executed Order 66, but oh my goodness, I've never seen black people go this out for a man like this. And what's even more interesting, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm hearing that they are trying to make a Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day on George Floyd's birthday. Is that true? Please, somebody let me know in the comments below if that's true. I'm hearing that they are in talks of making a Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day, an official day, on October 14th, on the same day as George Floyd's birthday. If that don't show you the amount of disrespect, and if that don't show you the amount of how much they value you in this world, and like I said before, don't let this you or anything like that, but if that doesn't show you in your face how they see you and how they really feel about you, I don't know what else to say. When you got people like Charlie Kirk, who was on social media even time again having these type of debates on Jubilee, And like some of his quotes are truly disgusting. And mind you, was very interesting to me because I've been knowing about Charlie Kirk since like stuff that they are showing on social media in terms of what he has said. That's not even the worst of the stuff. That's just some of the stuff that are like I don't think people truly understand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Challenged in some of his ways and in terms of how he thought. Like, I don't think people understand how challenged he was. And like, you look at his tweets in the past, like hours before he was assassinated, it was very anti-Semitic, very hateful. As a matter of fact, one of his very last conversation, he was going to racialize mass shootings in the world and was like, are we including or excluding gang violence? And you know what he means when we talk about gang violence. And what's even more exhausting is that there are black people who are trying to show the nice side of Charlie Kirk. The nice side. Oh, look at him being nice to a black person. Look at him giving props to a black person here. Look at him talk about Jesus here. Frederick Douglass talks about, in The Life and Narrative of Frederick Douglass, in his book, he talks about how there were black people on the plantation who would argue. They would damn near get in fights talking about who had the better master. What you are seeing now in 2025 is post-traumatic slave syndrome. That is what you are seeing. What you are seeing here is black people acting like their great-great-grandparents. Y'all want to talk about y'all, not y'all ancestors. Y'all are a lot closer than you think. And your ancestors ain't like Nat Turner. Your ancestors ain't like Harriet Tubman. Your ancestors are a bunch of Sambos. See, I don't know what's in my blood. Maybe I got some of them Gullah warriors in my blood. So maybe that's why I came out how I am. As for you, just a long lineage of shucking and jiving. Ain't that something? You ain't got no type of Harriet Tubman, no type of Desolate. You ain't got none of that in your blood. Just a whole bunch of tap dancing. Hey, it's beyond me at this point. But I personally really want to know how you feel about this, because I just had to get this off my chest, because I just been seeing it on my social media platform for these past 4 to 5 days. It's been a week. It's been officially a week since what has happened with Charlie Kirk. And like I said before, I don't know who gave out the Order 66, but black people are out. They are acting out of their minds. Now, there are a good bit of us out here who are still in our minds, but there are a lot of people are losing relationships. I saw somebody say that they had to cut off their sister. Somebody said that they had to cut off a 30-year friendship. People are losing friendships and relationships with family over these type of discussions, because you can't just dismiss your blackness. You can't just, because when you dismiss your blackness, you're dismissing yourself. You're dismissing what you see in the mirror. How can you look in the mirror every single day? How can you love yourself and who you are as a black person and just be like, I'm just one of the bunch? That doesn't make sense. How can you be in this society as a black person and dismiss everything that's going on with you and around you? We don't even have to include everybody else, just what's going around with you. Who you are as a person deals with everything. It factors into everything that you are in this society. And you know what happens when black people dismiss who they are? They oftentimes act like other races of people to fit in. They oftentimes will name their children after white people so that their children will have better advantages, so that they won't be stereotyped. Some black people will go so far to bleaching their skin, getting blue. I remember back in high school, black kids used to get these blue and green eye contacts because they didn't deem that their beautiful brown eyes, their dark brown eyes, were as beautiful as somebody with hazel or green or blue eyes. When I used to talk my talk with these ladies on in high school and college and stuff, I used to compliment their eyes so much. And more than half of the time, these women would never think that I was being serious. They never thought I was taking that seriously. They were like, my eyes, you can't even see the color of my eyes. This. It's very interesting what we are seeing right now with our people. And if you one of us, I need that the emoji black fist in the comment section along with your thoughts about this. All right. I need to know that I'm not alone in all of this, because it's only the beginning. I hope y'all understand this. And you was asking me in my comment section, like, got to wrap this up about the whole situation going on with Charlie Kirk. This is only the beginning. You think we're going to hear the end of what has happened with Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk was the sacrificial lamb. That's what Charlie Kirk was. Charlie Kirk was the poster boy for what is to come with this new agenda. And I don't fully know every corner of this new agenda. But when you got black people who are losing their jobs by the dozens for saying, and not even what the narrative is that they're trying to say that everybody is celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. But what I'm seeing with all black people, we're not celebrating the death. We just say we don't care for a racist that got unalived by one of his own people in his own party. That's all we're saying. We shouldn't have to mourn or empathize for somebody who obviously didn't care about us, who was putting out misinformation about us that could invoke harm onto us. Do you know how much that could invoke harm to people when you tell a mass of people that people who make up 13% of the population commit 58% of the crimes? Do you know what that does in a city, in a district, in a country, when they could use this misinformation to incarcerate more black men and women, to unalive more black men and women? That is a dangerous ideology to push out there. That is a literal white nationalist mindset. When Charlie Kirk got assassinated, what was the first thing that these masses of people that were in Charlie Kirk's, what was the first thing that they did? They wanted to harm other black people. They were trying so, they were just feeling, they was on a, like, they were just so eager to start a lynching mob. Like, they're just so eager for it to be one of us that they were pushing out threats on HBCUs, and dozens of HBCUs had to prevent the education of many thousands and millions of black kids, had to shut down the campuses for who knows how long. The president didn't say nothing about it. Nobody in the political system wanted to, slander or scold this type of act, these things that were happening. But oh, we love us some Charlie Kirk vigils all throughout the nation. That's very telling when they want to scream freedom of speech. But when you speak against their agenda and what they stand for, they will try to bury you under the cell. But listen, I'm going to start rambling even more. I want to know how y'all personally feel about this in the comments below. If y'all like some of the stuff that I have to say, if y'all like these type of long talks, I do have another video here. And this is my video about Charlie Kirk and what happened. This was actually my raw reaction like hours after he was assassinated. So y'all might want to listen to that one as well. I'm going to see y'all in the comment section. I'll see y'all later.